Good morning, brothers and sisters. How are you doing today? Yeah, it's a little bit nice and um, cool today. Yeah. Well, okay. I'm Michelle, and I'm reading from Jim Stevens' book. It's called 101 Proofs for God, or in other words, 101 mini true stories that can prove absolutely the existence of God. So I am going to be reading proof number 58. And I just wanted to let you know that this book is just really astounding. It has beautiful pictures on the outside and on the inside. So it's really just such a pleasure to read these. Yeah. Okay. So the one that I'm reading, it's called the Cambrian Explosion. We have all been taught by the theory of evolution that all species came into existence by small incremental changes over a long period of millions of years. Diversity came about over time from the beginning as various mutations created many new species. The various species branched out over time, creating more and more phyla or groups of species. Diagrams of evolution, therefore, appear like a giant tree and get the nickname Tree of Life. Yeah. The tree of life structure is Darwin's prediction that all species evolved from one original life form. Would it surprise you to know that the fossil record is not like this at all? Would you feel betrayed by the scientific community and media if you found out that the truth is totally different? Here are diagrams of what the actual evidence in the fossil record looks like. All the major phyla appeared in less than 1% of historical time. Since that time, a number have gone extinct, exactly the opposite of Darwin's prediction. There is no Darwinian tree of life in the fossil record. The true record looks like the below diagram. The true record looks like the below diagram, which shows just two sample phyla out of the many phyla that exist. Each phyla appears suddenly and without any connection to other phyla. Darwin predicted that there should be a tree trunk and many branches leading to many other branches. None of this has ever been found. His predictions cannot be verified in the fossil record, so therefore I must conclude that the theory must also be wrong. The best fossil records available on Earth actually show that the majority of phyla suddenly appear fully formed within a very narrow period of time and with no precursors. It all happened about 540 million years ago. There are no developmental stages or slow changes in the fossil record. All fossils are fully formed species, and basically no changes occur over time except for variations within a species. For example, horses may get bigger or smaller, but they are always horses. So I'm going to read here. Do you see this tree here? Okay. Now what it says is, the evolutionary tree, which postulates that all today's species are descended from the one common ancestor, which itself evolved from non-living chemicals. This is what evolution is really about. Okay. And then down here, that diagram, sorry, it's not doing a very good job showing you. All right, this is what it says on right here. The true creationist orchard diversity has occurred with time within the original Genesis kinds. Creationists often call them baramin, from Hebrew bara, which means create, and min, which equals kind, a kind. Okay, so the name given to this phenomenon, sudden appearance of all the phyla, is literally an explosion. It happened during the Cambrian age, and hence it is the Cambrian explosion. Time magazine called it evolution's Big Bang. New discoveries show that life as we know it began in an amazing biological frenzy that changed the planet almost overnight. The fossil record, in defiance of Darwin's whole idea of gradual change, often makes great leaps from one form to the next, far from the display of intermediates to be expected from slow advance through natural selection. Many species appear without warning, persist in fixed form, and disappear, leaving no descendants. Geology assuredly does not reveal any finely graduated organic chain, and this is the most obvious and gravest objection which can be urged against the theory of evolution. Time magazine calls this an objection that can be urged against the theory of evolution. I'd call it total demolishment. Suppose you make a timeline from the beginning until now and convert it to a 24-hour clock. On that clock, almost all of the species on Earth appeared in their early forms, each with their unique body plans, all within just a 2-minute span of the clock. That should forever debunk Darwin's slow and gradual, in my opinion. Scientists have discovered the major fossil beds with the finest fossils in locations all over the globe. The beds in Xinjiang, China, include extremely well-preserved soft tissue specimens. All the fossil beds exhibit the same explosion of species in the Cambrian age during the same time frame. The period is 0.14% of the time clock mentioned before. This is absolutely not slow and absolutely not gradual change. My goodness. There are various calculations about how big that window is ranging from about 5 to 10 million years out of billions. The theory of evolution is totally disproved based on the evidence in the fossil record. However, if you are a true believer, you deny the evidence. You deny the evidence shows what it clearly shows. Okay, let me read that again. If you are a if you are a true believer, you deny the evidence shows. Lost my place. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. If you are a true believer, you deny the evidence shows what the evidence clearly shows. You either make up a story of why you are still right or try to destroy the messenger. Yet, here is the real puzzle of the Cambrian explosion for the theory of evolution. All the known phyla except one, along with the oddities with which I began this discussion, first appear in the Cambrian period. There are no ancestors. There are no intermediates. Fossil experts used to think that the Cambrian lasted 75 million years. But even that seemed to be a pretty short time for all this evolutionary change. Eventually, the Cambrian was shortened to only 30 million years. And if that wasn't bad enough, the time frame of the real work of bringing all these different creatures into existence was limited to the first 5 to 10 million years of the Cambrian. This is really fast. Evolutionists have been grabbing at straws to hold onto their theory for years, despite the clear evidence that the Cambrian, despite the clear evidence from the Cambrian explosion. Some of their typical excuses cannot stand up to thoughtful examination. Number one, not enough fossils have been discovered yet. Darwin used this reasoning also. The explanation lies, as I believe, in the extreme imperfection of the geological record. That was back when we had just 1% of the current fossil record. Unfortunately for them, though, every time new fossils are discovered, it just further substantiates the evidence of the existing fossils and the Cambrian explosion. Number two, missing links and the precursor species didn't fossilize. How could that possibly be true all over the world? It is a gigantic mystery. It's especially problematic since there are existing fossils of many species from before the Cambrian explosion with soft bodies and even single-celled animals. Number three, punctuated equilibrium. This idea basically says that all the necessary evolving of each of the different species must have taken place in tiny, isolated groups. No records can therefore be found, or maybe we just haven't found them yet. It says everything went along for millions of years without changing, and then suddenly there was a burst of change, totally upside down, from Darwin. Please. That's what Jim says. So they won't give up. The new explanation of the fossil record is to say that changes take place in spurts separated by long periods of no change. Hence, it is called punctuated, a spurt, and equilibrium, meaning stays the same for a long time. Therefore, they are really saying, we admit that we just can't find the right fossils predicted by Darwin, so it must be that evolution takes place very rarely and in extremely isolated places because they can't find any evidence. So it must be in an isolated place. That's why we haven't found the fossil evidence. They know the evidence exists somewhere. However, the proof remains only in their minds. During the Cambrian explosion, almost all species suddenly came into existence. Clearly, this is a repudiation of Darwin's idea of slow and gradual. Punctuated equilibrium admits to the truth. Darwin was wrong. Punctuated equilibrium believers have no clear explanation of why or how change happens in spurts, but they're undeterred. Actually, this idea has been proven false by statistical analysis. Let me read that again. This idea has been proven false by statistical analysis. To get the very large number of changes that are required to evolve all the different species, you must necessarily have huge numbers of mutations. There must be enough individuals reproducing in order to account for all those mutations. This model has nowhere near enough. This model has nowhere near enough reproducing individuals in their populations. The paleontologists have all the evidence right before their eyes, but they won't take the leap of faith away from accepted dogmas. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Verbalizing publicly that the fossil evidence is totally against the theory of evolution is likely to get a professor fired or his or her funding taken away. Wow. When scientists have a hidden agenda, truth suffers. They will not go where the evidence leads them. They are not being true scientists. And we are all the worst for it. Think what amazing discoveries await us once scientists stop wasting energy pursuing and or defending a fraud and devote that same energy to discovering more about the true loving source of all things and the amazing creation in which we live in. So there is truly God. Yeah, he nailed that one on the head, didn't he, Jim? Telling it like it is. Okay, we appreciate you. All right. So yeah, let's get that truth out there. Yeah. Thank you very much, everybody. And I will see you another time. Take care. Bye.